So, welcome back to another episode of the Reds Disciples podcast. We got a back-to-back tonight, Billy.
Yeah, I know you missed us, so we had to give you a double dip.
All right, I had to give you the double dose. I had to get you both barrels. And speaking of giving somebody both barrels, the Celtics pull out a can like they just unloaded on this team after what happened yesterday with that great, thrilling, but kind of frustrating game with Utah, who just went nuts with their shooting. But tonight it was our turn, finally, in another like great shooting game. Celtics beat the Portland Trailblazers tonight, 145-117. In a game, they finish shooting 56% from the floor, Billy, 57% from three, including a Payton Pritchard barrage to close the game out with the bench going nuts. What'd you see?
I mean, let's just start there. The hometown kid, he's had a tough time. He broke his face the first game of preseason. And let's be honest, he's been broken ever since he broke his face. For him to do that in his hometown, on his floor, in front of, I'm sure, his family and friends, dude, that's just why basketball is the most beautiful sport, man.
Oh, it's just beautiful to watch. And I mean, it was great to see that for him as a kid who, as we said in yesterday's pod, we knew he wasn't going to see a lot of time, especially in the first part of the season with Schroder and Smart, obviously. And Schroder was just dominant today. We'll get to him, but I think Schroder today was the best player on the floor. Just slightly edging out Tatum, who was great. But in any case, but as for Pritchard, it's great to see that for him. Neesmith hit a couple of shots as well. Like if those two kids, like you said, it doesn't even have to be right now, right this second. But if they can just slowly start to regain some of that confidence that we started to see from these kids and start to hit a few of these shots, like that adds just a luxury to this team that can really change the dynamic and possibly even the ceiling, a little bit. If we get consistent shooting from these guys off the bench, consistent shooting has been something that has eluded this team a bit, although of late, and hopefully we're starting to get guys starting to find their spots, finding, a way to gel, move the ball, make a few plays. Like I'm hoping this feel, especially from these last two games, is the start of something big where our offense really starts to catch up to where our defense is.
Yeah, because it seemed like in the moment we all wanted this fixed immediately. But even Ime said it a few weeks ago. He's like, yeah, we fixed the defense. We got the defense that we like set. The guys are used to playing it. Now we're going to go to work on the offense. And he's showing his work because we're becoming a high tempo, high octane. Just when we get going, you watch out. You're not going to be able to stop us.
All right. And we were able to play really fast today and move the ball. And I know some of that is obviously Portland, but when you're able to get shots to fall, then you can set up your defense. You can play the kind of defense that we want to play when we're not turning it over. We turned the ball over 20 times. I mean, we turned Utah over, 20 times. You didn't mention that yesterday, but defense played well, and that got us back into that game yesterday after we started out really kind of poorly or behind. We didn't force as many turnovers today, but Um, Still, defense has been pretty good. And when we get shots to go, and sometimes I always say it's a make or miss league. Get shots to go, we can set up our defense, and then hopefully, if we can just start pushing a little bit more off those rebounds, off those breaks, then we can do a lot of things because we got a lot of speed on this team. And if we just are able to use it and sometimes get Tatum at the 4, which I've seen a bit more, like we can outrun some of these teams and force matchups.
Yeah, I feel bad for Rocco because for whatever reason, whenever he's on Tatum, Tatum just sees the green light, man. Tatum loves taking it to that poor guy, and he's one of the best one-on-one wing defenders in the league. But man, Tatum eat his lunch. I don't know what it is. It's just one of those matchups where Tatum's going to have a good night if Rocco's on him.
And Portland in general, like I still remember that game. I want to say it was a couple of years ago in February when Tatum won Player of the Month, and he just had that ridiculous stretch versus both LA teams and Portland as well. And I remember at one time you just dribbled it back, and it was back when Hassan Whiteside was on the team, and Hassan Whiteside got caught in no man's land trying to cover Tatum. He did this little flip the ball thing, and as soon as he caught up, he just shot it straight in his face, and it was just all net. He loves Portland. He loves playing Portland. So yeah, it was great to see Tatum today with another great game for him getting to the line. Double-digit free throw attempts two nights in a row. Seeing him get to the line. Only 2-11 for threes last night, but 4 of 6 tonight. Just all around great game for him. 31, 10, and 4 tonight. Only 2 turnovers. Passing again, just it's starting to make sense. You're starting to see him be able to get into the teeth of the defense and spot guys right away on the weak side. And just as guys start to make those shots, man, it's gonna unlock this team. So we can see, as stressful as maybe the beginning of the season has been, we're really starting to see this team start to do some of the right things. I'm sorry, go ahead and speak to what you've seen as far as Tatum goes. Plus 17 for Tatum today.
I mean, I don't know any Game of Thrones fans out there, but the prince that was promised, this was the Tatum that was promised.
This is the Tatum.
I mean, I love it, man. Him offensively, defensively, he's just controlling the game, and it's coming to the point the last couple weeks where it's like he's the best player on the court. He knows it, the other team knows it, and there's nothing they can do about it. They're sending double teams at him. He's reading and reacting quickly. It's a beautiful thing. We got all NBA Tatum back.
All right. So all we got to do now is see, if we get JB back, how he fits in with all of this. We hope, obviously that Jalen comes back healthy, and I think this time they're going to take their time much more with him. I don't know if maybe Jalen was in a rush to get back because he just wants to get back on the floor, but he clearly was not ready. And this time they're going to probably have to take even more baby steps with him just to make sure that when he does come back, it's for good the next time. Because right now they're doing okay. They're doing okay without him right now. We're back to 13 and 11. So back over 500. We're currently in 7th place, I think.
But right, I mean, 3.5 games from first.
3.5 from first. That's it.
And you're 2 from third. That's it.
Yeah. So right now, there's no reason to rush JB back at all. We can just hopefully, he he gets things together and he's able to just get himself back to who he is. But I got to mention Schroder, who, for me, he looked tonight. He looked as dominant as he's been in a uniform with us. I felt he was controlling the game. 10 of 16, 5 of 7 from 3. I mean, he was just like the threes were going down when when those were just raw pulls a few times with guys in his face. Just raw pulls tonight. 8 assists, only 1 turnovers. I for as much early on as I had an issue with his turnovers, I feel like those have started to settle back down a little bit. And now we can start reaping the real benefits of Dennis's real skills, which is his lightning quick ability to get into the paint. When he doesn't dance on the perimeter and just goes a la JB, I mean, he's impossible. I mean, impossible to keep out of the lane. And he can just be a nightmare from in there. And I thought he was that all game tonight. Anytime he wanted to get into the lane tonight, he did. And so, again, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, got to the line 6 times. Just a really, really good game from Schroder, who's, in my opinion, I know, a lot of people say, where would we be without Schroder? And, that's true.
Very true.
That's true. But I feel like even in the last few games, I feel like he's raised it up a notch. And that's something that I've noticed and appreciated.
Yeah, that was by far his best game in a Celtic uniform. I know he had one other game where he scored like 38, but this game was so under control. He knew exactly what he was doing. The one thing that we probably should give Dennis more credit for, I know I probably should too, because I am very hard on him. I'm not going to take back what I said because those things I said still stand. Mm-hmm. But he is a really good Tatum amplifier. The way he attacks the rim helps out Tatum so much for when Tatum wants to attack, because they always have to worry about Dennis as a threat because of his speed. Him and Tatum have such a great chemistry, and it just makes me like kind of wish I had a time machine so I can get like a prime Rondo to put with Tatum, because if Dennis could do this, imagine what a Rondo would do with him. It'd be really, really cool. Just pure porn.
Absolutely. And so honestly, what I wouldn't mind seeing is them play 1-4 pick and roll a little bit and force teams to try and use that matchup, or have each one of these guys, on either side of the court, one playing weak side with that, so that if they get in, if one guy gets into the paint, he kicks it out weak side, and it gives the other person an opportunity to either shoot or drive the closeout from there. There's a lot of things you can do with these guys as weapons that I'm hoping we'll start to see a little bit. I feel like 1-4 pick and roll. I feel like if Dennis runs that with Tatum, like, what does a team do? If you can run something like that, if another team switches, with a big guy on, I feel like Dennis can potentially take advantage of that mismatch, or Tatum can use his size. But either way, you're right about him amplifying Tatum a little as well. It's been a good development moving forward for them, and so you got to give Tatum credit. You got to give Schroder credit for that, and he's been good. Like I said, today was a great game for him.
It's really hard to nitpick anybody tonight, because even Marcus Smart, the stat line might not blow you away, but every time Portland got momentum, it seemed like Smart came back with like an and one play. Like he had what, 2, 3 and one layup, and
Yeah.
he was
Yeah,
phenomenal.
he was outstanding. He was outstanding tonight. 17 points. Not a lot of threes. We haven't really said he checked Marcus much this year at all.
No.
Like he's been so under control, really for the last whole month. Like I mean, I can't say enough how impressed I've been with, regardless of how things have gone with Marcus for the most part, just playing really under control. He did have some turnover issues tonight. He had 4. But overall, just of late, I think Marcus has just been really, really solid, all while playing his usual defense. Got banged up a couple times tonight, hit the floor hard as usual. But yeah, I thought he's played really well.
And also, it's just going to go back to my thing of maybe having Grant in the starting lineup. Like I said, it's not going to blow you away in the box score, but Grant is so freaking solid. The way he defends, the way he sets screens, and now he's actually pump faking threes and making layups. Who is this guy? This is a new Grant
Right,
Williams.
right. So that's a great point that you make. And I wonder if him in the starting lineup maybe opens things up a little bit more. I think we're seeing hopefully how this trio of bigs can really help this team moving forward as far as, Grant and Horford being able to space and give these other guys some room to work with. That we're starting to see that. And in the end, to some degree, it's just about guys making shots. We said this, a couple of weeks ago. Eventually, this team is going to go as far as Tatum takes it. Absolutely, 100%. But, for all these other guys, just being able to see a few shots start to go in, as a few more guys are able to just hit a few more shots than they'd been hitting to start out. Like it changes the trajectory of everything, and having more space given for these other guys, give guys like Schroder and JB and Jason just more room to drive now.
Exactly. And then, oh man, and you can have somebody like Neesmith come in, him running on those little curl plays to get those open threes.
I love that they were looking for him on those. I mean, and obviously near the end of that, it started to get a bit towards garbage time, the second half of the fourth quarter. But the first half of the fourth quarter, the game, they were still had the starters in there except for JT, who they had taken out. But Schroder was in. And he made, I think he assisted on all of, or at least most of Tatum's, most of Neesmith's threes. At least I know he assisted, I want to say at least on 2 of them.
Yeah.
And that they ran that wheel route, that curl rub screen for him. And he was able to hit those shots. And I mean, and that's really all you're looking for Neesmith.
And I love that every time he hit one, the loudest person, the one jumping up on the bench, is Josh.
Yeah.
That was noticeable because honestly, if he keeps making those, that's going to cut into Richardson's minutes. But you could tell that these guys are really pushing each other to be better. They want to, I don't know, all the stuff about this team's chemistry. Just show them that clip after Pritchard hit his 5th 3 and tell me this team has bad chemistry. Come on.
Yeah, no, I mean, no matter what's happened, this team has really done a great job of sticking together. They really do root for each other. No matter what the situation has been, no matter how difficult it is, gotten at times with some of the with some of the difficult losses or what have you, but this team really sticks together. And I think in the end, when all is said and done by the end of the year, that's going to bear out and that's going to reap rewards for this team.
Yeah, it was like kind of like the opposite end of the spectrum. I watched a little bit of Billups' comments after the game because, in a bizarro universe, Billups is coaching the Celtics possibly.
All
He was
right.
candidates, and he totally just called out his team. He said the starters are and the vets are looking to the young guys to inspire them when they're the ones supposed to be inspiring the young guys. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the coach should be the one teaching the young guys. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But it just like a lot of pointing your fingers. That situation in Portland's just so toxic.
Yeah, it almost makes you, like I said, we spoke about this briefly when we started to kind of preview a little bit of this game uh, yesterday. I wonder if what's going to happen with that group. New president will eventually come in, and when we get to the deadline, that team's going to have decisions to make. As far as what direction they're going to go in. I don't. Do you know how long Lillard is going to be out for?
He was working out before the game, so I actually was scared because I thought he was going to play tonight. I was like, oh crap, we're going to get Lillard back now too after all this. But I guess he was just working out. So I didn't have a schedule on when he was going to be back. But the fact that he was doing work before the game probably makes me think he's maybe a week away. He's at least close. But I
Mhm.
mean, that team's going to be well under 500 by then. They're going to lose every game without him almost. The way that team defends, they're already 11-13.
All right. So I know they've got pieces on that team that will fetch something.
And
Uh,
Scott's not the most reliable, but he has worked for teams and stuff before. He said Damian Lillard's not finishing the season as a Blazer. So for whatever that's worth, but I mean, he does talk to guys around the league. I just found that interesting.
who said this?
Scal during the broadcast.
Hmm.
Scal,
Interesting.
I thought so.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, Lillard has been 100% all about like, you know, I want to stay here. I want to build this thing here. Um, but if a new president comes in and he's got no affinity or ties to
Yep.
Lillard, and Lillard affords him the best return, best return, maybe all of a sudden it's not in his control anymore.
And he better come back quick because their next 5 is brutal. It's Clippers, Warriors, Timberwolves, Suns, and Grizzlies. I mean, you can go 1-4 in that stretch. You can even go
Mhm.
0-5. Literally, it's not back. That's a tough little run there.
If
Those are all
you
the teams.
So let me ask you this, and I don't want to get too far into this particular conversation to right now because it's way early. But just since we're talking about Portland, if if it was Jalen for Lillard, what say you right now?
I would say no. The age, the timeline. I don't think he's going to be playing his best basketball when Tatum's playing his best basketball.
Yeah.
But it is tempting. I mean, that's really tempting. But
If there is a player on Portland you'd be interested in, who would it be?
if I could somehow pull a CJ without giving up Brown, I'd be very interested. I would love a CJ McCollum. Just somebody else that'll make shots, man. CJ's like a dollar store Bradley Beal to me, and I mean that as a compliment. He's
Mhm.
just or
What do you feel about Rocco or Nance?
I love him, but I kind of feel like we got a bargain version of them in Grant Williams. So it's
Yeah.
like I was thinking that today. I'm like, is Larry Nance Jr. really worse than Grant Williams? I'm like, because I love Nance. I wanted to trade for Nance for the last 18 months. And now I'm like, well, we got Grant. He shoots better from 3. He defends better. Plays nice with the Jays. But yeah, I would still take a shot on Nance. I would still take a shot on who else they got over there that I really like. I really like Norman Powell. I would take
Mhm.
him, as like a TPE kind of candidate, but that's about it. Anybody you see?
Um, I think Rocco needs to get out of there. I
Yeah.
think I think Rocco needs to be rescued. Uh, because I think the poor defense in that culture is just rubbing off on him, and I think he's just a better defender than what he has shown since he's been there. Um, I think he's a better player than that. I think if we brought him here, um, we'd see that versatility that he provides and that shooting he provides again. And that just my feeling. He would be the one guy I would take off that team if I could.
They were playing this game during the broadcast, and it sounded weird when Gorman said it, but I kind of started to talk myself into it. If they're going to have a fire sale and just give up stuff for picks and young guys, Nurkic is only 27, and Horford, as great as he's playing now, isn't going to get any younger. Nurkic on the season, you just have a two-headed monster, and you stagger the minutes between Nurkic and Rob. I talked myself into it for like a quarter, just throwing it out there.
Interesting.
I do like Nurkic, and apparently Mike Gorman does too. So I'm in good
Yeah,
company.
yeah, he does. I did notice that as well. All right. So, yeah, so we kind of covered everything here. Like I said, I'm just really happy for Pritchard. I'm happy
Oh,
for Pritchard. Forget I like personally, I'd like to see him do well. Like I said, my expectation is he's probably not going to do a ton until maybe hopefully after the All-Star break. But I just like, for tonight, I like seeing him get those shots down. I'm happy for Schroder too.
yep.
Though if you listen to this broadcast, maybe you wouldn't think that sometimes, but I'm happy for Schroder too. He played a great game. Um, and was Horford out today just for rest on the back-to-back, or did he have an injury? I meant to check that before the game started, but I didn't.
They listed an injury, but it was like so fishy that you could tell it was because it was the back to back, and he carried a heavy load last night going against Gobert. There's no reason to play Al in games like this. And even Jalen, he was like supposedly good enough to go if this was like a more serious game. Like if this game was in May or, think hopefully one day in June, Jalen would have played, but there's no reason to push him for a game like tonight. Romeo too. Same
Yeah.
boat.
How good was Canner? I'm still gonna call him. I
I
still
know.
haven't wrapped my brain around freedom yet. So I keep forgetting that. But how good was he tonight off the bench? 22 minutes, 15 boards. Ever since he made his comments about whether the questioning of his minutes being for political reasons, and all of a sudden Ime is playing him, and he has contributed. He, I don't know if we're hiding him on defense or that he's playing better, or we're just not haven't played as many teams that are exposing him on the pick and roll as much. But either way, he's managed to play himself away. He's a plus 29 tonight. He grabbed a ton of boards, 9 points. He's really found a couple of blocks tonight. He's really found a way to contribute regularly for the last few games now.
No, Mr. Freedom is a great situational big. I don't know. I might be just putting, this is conspiracy me, just kind of putting two and two together here. But like the fact that he only played like 3 minutes last night, and then he played so much tonight, he played so much against the Sixers. I do think that Ime only plays them against the less X's and O's driven coaches, like a Billups or a Doc, who's more of a motivational coach than X's and O's coach, because
Right.
they don't attack freedom on defense like a coach like Quinn Snyder would. Because you put Canner out there against Utah, you know what Mike Conley's doing every single time. They're doing
Right.
pick, they're getting lobs. But for whatever reason, the Doc Rivers of the world, the Chauncey Billups, the more players, coaches, they don't attack them like we do, like other coaches do.
And you're right. He would have been exposed against Utah completely. But yeah, great to see him play well tonight. So just a good feeling all around after a big win, almost 30-point win tonight. It just has you feeling like, all right, we're heading someplace now.
Heading to LA.
Heading to LA. Heading to LA, and that's going to be that game will be on what, Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday. Tuesday game against in LA. That'll be the late game on TNT. So that's going to be a big one. Is that the game you're going to?
Oh, I'm a maniac. I spent way too much money. I'll be at all three. I will be at the Laker game, the Clipper game the next night, and then I'll be in Phoenix Friday. So I got a road trip with the Seas. I'm following the team bus.
Nice. Well, that'll be awesome. So I don't know if I'll catch you on the pods. We'll see how we structure that out. Maybe one or two that I might do quick without you, but I don't know how many beers in you'll be by then or whatever you'll be into.
I'm going to put a test to see if the LA nightlife is undefeated. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Well, yeah, with LA being the next game. On a completely off-topic note, your thoughts on the big game? I don't know. No, that's actually no. You're not a Patriots fan. I keep forgetting.
My team has a big game tomorrow. The Dolphins. They got to beat up on the Giants.
Right. Man, you're a Giants. You're a Dolphins fan.
Yeah.
We'll see how they do. Yeah. What's the Dolphins' record now?
We're slowly moving up in the standings now. You know, we have a chance because our schedule's so soft that we might actually get to 500 by the time this is all said and done, which is insane.
There you go.
Yeah, we have like this stretch where we played like the Jets, the Panthers, the Giants, and we play like the Jets again. So we're 5-7 right now. We got 2 more dog teams coming up. So, hey, we could at least get to 500.
All right. I was about to ask you about the Patriots-Bills game for a second.
No. I mean, you guys are both the Patriots and the Bills are ahead of us in the standings of the AFC East. So we're looking up at you.
That'll be a big game. That'll be a big one. We're going to see what each team is really made of on that night, on Monday night. That game, I feel like, is a little bit bigger for Buffalo than it is for New England, just from a psychological standpoint. But we'll see.
I just want you guys to, take care of business the next couple games. So that way, when we play on January 9th, you rest everybody and just let us have a win. That's all we ask, Last game of the season. You don't need to play hard against us.
All right. We'll see what we can do. All right. So, again, Reds disciples, disciples, if you're here in the building and you're listening to this, congratulations. We got us a great win. Congratulations for getting to the end here. Again, hit that like and subscribe button. Celtics, once again, take this one 145 to 117. And look out now. Maybe we'll be going streaking here. Offense is starting to wake up a bit. So we'll see what happens. Guys are starting to figure out how to play with one another. So we'll see what happens when they go to LA. What are your thoughts, real quick, before we go? A quick LA preview. What'll you be looking for when you get into the Staples Center?
I'll be looking to, just see how hot Frank Vogel's seat is. I know there's smoke coming from it right now. I just want to
Right.
see how hot that hot seat actually gets because, oh man, that guy's taking a beating. You got players complimenting the other team's coach in the press conferences. That's
Mhm.
pretty ugly. Like LeBron, Monk, and one other guy, they all talked about how great of a game adjuster Tyronn Lue is after losing to the Clippers last night. You don't see that too often.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. How quickly, like you like, I feel like when LeBron starts to do that, you can definitely start to tell, like, all right, things are maybe in the works. Um, Soon LeBron will probably be coaching himself or something like that. If
Nobody
you feel
fires a coach quicker than LeBron.
right. Like, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like always, we'll be looking to see us beat the Lakers.
Yes.
Um, that's always gonna be a big one for us. So we'll see what happens for that, and hopefully have a great night out cheering in the Staples Center behind enemy lines.
And we are going to continue to call it the Staples Center. It's been the Staples Center for 20 years. I'm not calling it the Crypto Arena after 20 years. It's just
Oh
not.
yeah, that's right. That's right. They did change. They are changing the name. Like I can't even keep up with this stuff anymore.
It's Staples. I haven't been in a Staples in God knows how long. I don't even think we have any open left in Vegas, but it's still the Staples Center.
It's still a Staples Center. All right. So he's Billy. I'm Aaron. This is the Reds Disciples podcast. Hit that like and subscribe button. And again, we'll catch you next time, and we'll see where we're at then with these C's. All right. Everyone have a great evening.